Hey everyone! So I have been wanting to do this video for a while, but it wasn't really my video to do, or I don't, it wasn't, what I'm going to talk about in this video wasn't my information to talk about. And so I wasn't going to do it until I got permission to do so. So I now have permission, so I will talk to you about it. So without going into like too much like personal detail, if you follow me at all, I have carried for I'm caring for a couple that has one daughter. She's the same age as my son. She's 3, and they wanted to expand their family, so they got me because the mom was not able to carry another pregnancy. They had done some rounds of IVF, and they'd tried other things, and they'd had some miscarriages, and I think she told me like they've had like 6 DNCs, and so her uterus just wasn't really able to carry any more babies. And she went into labor with her daughter at 30 weeks and had her. I think she'd actually went in prior to that. They'd stopped it, and then she went in again and they couldn't stop it. I'm a little fuzzy on all that, so don't quote me, but she did have her daughter at 30 weeks. And so obviously 30 weeks, the baby was a preemie, and there was lots of time in the NICU and that sort of thing, and it was just not like a wonderful situation, right? So their 3-year-old obviously is fine and healthy now, but the start of her life is really rough. So between that, the premature labor, the miscarriages, the DNCs, and all of that, and also it just being really hard for her to get pregnant, my IM was told that she couldn't carry a baby and to look elsewhere. So enter me. So they had 5 embryos, and I've talked about, okay, so the next part I've talked about before, so I'll kind of like skim past it. They had 5 embryos. We were going to transfer 2, and then if they didn't take, we'd have these 3 others to do. The day we got there for the transfer, they'd thawed all 5 of them because the first 3 didn't survive the thaw, and there were 2 left, and they weren't horrible quality, but they weren't the best quality. I think they were like grade B's or something. In comparison, like the twins were grade A embryos. They, like, one was what they said was like floating, and so it was kind of funny, like it was the picture of the egg, it was sort of triangular, and or the embryo I should say was triangular, and then the other one was more like round and blobby like they usually are. So they transferred those 2 into me. Obviously I got pregnant, and we found out it was just the one baby. So when they did all my blood work, all of my HCG levels were tons higher, and they were doubling faster than when I was pregnant with the twins. And so I was 100% sure that both took, and maybe one split. And the doctors even were like asking me, or the doctor even said, like when I went in for the ultrasound to check how many heads were in there, he asked me my levels, and I told him, he's like, so we're thinking multiples, and I'm like, yeah. As you know, only one, and he had spent like a lot of time looking around because he was sure there had to be a second one in there too, but there wasn't. There was just one. So I had such weird feelings about that. I was relieved for myself because the idea of carrying twins again or triplets was scary a little, just because I had a good pregnancy with the twins. I delivered them at 37 weeks. They were healthy, they were fine, they got to go home in a couple days, but it was just exhausting to carry them, and it was hard on my body, and so for that, I just wanted to carry a single this time. And at the same time, I felt bad because even though I knew it wasn't something that I did, I just felt bad because their other embryos didn't survive, and then only one of them that transferred into me was took. So I was like, well, if they want more than 2 children, they're gonna, you know, I am just gonna have to go through this process again. They're gonna have to harvest eggs, and they're gonna have to fertilize them and hope that they make it, and blah, 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 and you know, and so I was just kind of bummed. And the IM said it was fine, and the IF was fine about it. They're like, no, it's okay, we're good. And I thought they were just kind of trying to be nice to me. Like, I thought they had to be a little bit disappointed because I knew they wanted more kids than 2, and they weren't going to get that. They were going to get 2, and then maybe later sometime down the road go through all that mess again and try for another one with either me or another surrogate or whoever. So I had that ultrasound at 7 weeks. At 9 weeks, I got a text from the IM, and it said, hey, I have some crazy, exciting, shocking news for you. I'm pregnant too. And my mind was just like, I didn't text her back for like 10 or 15 minutes because I was just like rereading the text because I just couldn't process it in my head. My last IM ended up getting a hysterectomy like halfway through the twin pregnancy, and so, and we knew she wasn't, absolutely no way was going to have like a baby or a pregnancy. And I'd heard about IMs getting pregnant when their Suros did, and but it was like few and far between. It was really rare. So I knew it happened, but it's so rare, so rare. So I was like, did they have other embryos? Did they transfer them into her? Like, how did this happen? How far along is she, you know? And she told me that it was 100% natural. It was just a total surprise. They didn't do IVF, IUI, they didn't do anything like that. It was just surprise baby. And she had found out a couple days before that original ultrasound that I had. So she'd found out like 2 weeks before she told me. And so she was really okay with it just being 1 because she was pregnant. And so if it was 2 or 3, that would have been like insane, right? So they were excited. They wanted me to know that it no way changed how they felt about this baby, but you know, but they didn't want me to know. They felt like I should know. So they were excited. I think there was like a little bit of kind of a little afraid to get their hopes up because of her past experiences, plus that pregnancy had already been giving problems. By the time she told me, she had been like in and out of the ER for like spotting and bleeding a couple times, and so it wasn't starting off wonderful. And so, but she told me, and I was just shocked. And I'll be completely honest, I was so excited for them. I thought it was such a cool thing, but on my end, I was so, like, I really didn't have words to describe how I was feeling. It was so weird. Well, before I get into that, let me explain. So I asked her, like, oh, what did you do? And I'm thinking, like, she must be like 2 or 3 weeks ahead or behind me. And she told me that she was due the day after me. So I was due on the 28th of May, and she was due on the 29th. And so we were quite literally like very pregnant together. Like we would do the same time, you know, and so like I said, I was so excited for them, and at the same time, I will be completely honest, I didn't know, like, I was kind of like, how does this affect me, as far as they live close to me but not super close. They're not like next door, and I'm like, wow, you know, if we go into labor at the same time, are like, how's that going to work, right? Because her husband needs to be with her, which, you know, like he does, like that's his baby is being born, and at the same time their baby is being born also, you know. And so I kept trying to tell myself, like, well, how, like, what are the chances, Michelle, like, you guys won't deliver on the same day, and yeah, well, what are the chances of us both becoming pregnant? And well, I guess it was slightly more chance that I became pregnant, but you know what I mean, just both at the same time and due at the same time. And so I really started, like, I didn't know, you know, like, with the twins, right, we had a plan. It was like, okay, you're going to come down X amount of days before the babies are expected to come, whether, you know, before the C-section, it was going to be like a week or two before my due date, because it was twins, that they were going to come down, they were going to stay in a hotel and just wait. And then at the C-section, they knew a date, and I wasn't showing any signs, and so they, my C-section was on a Monday morning, and I think they flew in Saturday and stayed like the weekend, and then Monday morning we met at the hospital and I had babies for them. And so it was just easy to plan. And I don't know if I could ever work with international IPs, because the idea of more than likely they would not be there for the birth is like insane to me, because I want them to be there, right? Like, I want them to see their child be born. I want to be able to be like, here you go, you know. And I have lots of friends that have had international IPs, and some of them have made it, some of them haven't. Some of them make it, you know, a couple hours after birth. And, you know, in the general scheme of things, it probably doesn't matter, but that's what I wanted out of a surrogacy, right? And so, and it sounds horrible, but yeah, I started thinking, like, me, like, holy crap, you know. So my husband doesn't come into the delivery room with me. He never has, never will. He doesn't do blood, he doesn't do needles, and I don't want to do worrying about him while I'm trying to have a baby. So he's gonna stay at home with the baby, and he'll come over afterwards and be like, good job, Michelle, go team. No, actually, he'll probably be at the hospital, but he just won't be in the room. And my parents, my mom has came to both of my deliveries, but they are a state away, so they have to drive like 15 hours. And so I just started having all these thoughts, and I was like, oh, you know, what if I go into labor and she's in labor, or she can't travel because maybe traveling is going to throw her into labor and she's going to have a baby on the side of the road somewhere. And so I go into labor, they can't come, my parents are gone, you know, my husband's watching the baby, and I'm just all by myself in the room being like, okay, I'm having this baby. And it's not even like, oh, well, I'll just enjoy some time with my baby, because it's not my baby. I wrote her and I was like, oh my gosh, how cool, it's exciting, and I was so excited for her. Like I'm saying, it was such a weird feeling, because I genuinely am so excited for her. But there was a part of me that was like, oh my gosh, you know, like, what does this change? Also, like, then I started considering, like, well, she had her daughter early, and so if it happens this time, how does that work? The baby's gonna be in a NICU somewhere, and I don't want to take her away from her NICU baby, right? That's probably has maybe some problems or whatever. Not saying that all NICU babies have like horrible obstacles to overcome, but some do, you know. And so And same thing with the dad. I'm not going to be like, oh, leave your wife and newborn baby to come sit at my side. And so I don't think that's actually really clear. Even now at almost 32 weeks, I don't know if any of us really know how that's going to work. I think we'll all find out at delivery what's going to happen at delivery. This whole pregnancy for her, I don't want to get into like too much of her personal stuff, but this whole pregnancy for her has been pretty rough. She started having contractions at like 17 weeks, and they've had to stop it multiple times. She's been in and out of labor and delivery a ton. Like, it seems every time I get a text from her, she's just getting out of labor and delivery, or she's gone for an appointment, or she's seeing like a high risk doctor, and she has lots of like checks and ultrasounds, and they finally they gave her steroid shots for the baby she's carrying the lungs. It's a girl, by the way, so they're going to have a boy and girl twins. I don't know. I saw a name on another group, and I kind of stole it, and I've been calling them twiblings because they're siblings, but they're kind of twins, and there's a very real possibility that they could be born the same day, or they could be born like 3 or 4 weeks apart, but they're full-blooded siblings, and it's just going to be a really interesting story to tell later on. So anyways, so they gave her the steroid shots for the baby, and she's made it 2 weeks farther this time than she did with her daughter. Her daughter was born at 30 weeks, and we are almost 32, so that's like good, and it's progress. And right now, like every day, every week is awesome. So that brings us to today. Today, like I said, today is Monday, so we'll be 32 weeks on Thursday. Well, she'll be 32 weeks on Wednesday, and I'll be 32 weeks on Thursday because they moved her up 2 days. So she's now due the day before me. And we have kind of joked, sort of, about the idea if we both make it to like 38, 39 weeks. Well, 39 specifically, but if we both make it like full term, 39 weeks, she would like to come here and deliver. And we spoke to my OB about it. My OB is actually okay with inducing us both the same day. That way the babies can be born same day, same hospital, and they can more than likely go home the same time. And it just seems easier that way. So yeah, right now it's really just kind of waiting. It's no pressure on my IM, but it's all on her. Yeah. She needs to just hold the baby in longer. Yeah, I've been wanting to tell you for a while, but like I said, it's not really my thing to tell. And it was so hard for me to keep it a secret because I would start recording and I would mention something, not even think about it, and then I'd have to like edit it out, or I would just get thrown off and I would just start re-recording. And yeah, and it's been really crazy. It's such a fun experience because we're sharing the pregnancy together, literally. We we were both getting morning sickness at the same time. We were both feeling movements, and we were both having this problem and that problem. And the other day we were joking about how like horrible it is to like sneeze and like hope that you didn't pee, and so it's been awesome, but it's just been really crazy as well. My first IM was awesome. She was great, but when you're caring, especially for like another woman who, I don't know how to say this, who hasn't been able to do what she feels she should be able to do, and that's not me saying it. I'm not saying that women, like, you're broken. I'm not saying you're broken. There's surrogates I know that won't carry for IMs because of what we kind of call, I guess, uterus envy. And the IM could be totally sweet, could be wonderful, but maybe they're just a little bit jealous because you are feeling the baby move and you are doing this and you are carrying the baby. and my former IM was really well adjusted, and if it affected her, I never caught it, I never sensed it. I know surrogates that have got like the bad end of like the jealousy stick. And so it's weird because it puts a surrogate in a spot, sort of, because you want to share everything, but you don't want to share too much. Like, you want to tell them, oh, your baby was kicking, and you know, but at the same time, you're conscious that you are basically kind of rubbing it into the IM's face that you're feeling her baby kick. And so, like I said, we had a great relationship, my last IM and I, and we didn't have problems, and I shared pretty much everything. I didn't share everything because I just didn't want her to ever feel like worse than she may already or whatever. And so this pregnancy, I was like, oh, I'm caring for another IM. I hope this goes well. And since we are both pregnant, and I think also because she has been pregnant before, and so she understands like there's different things, you know. And like I said, we share random things. She'll text me and be like, oh, has this been happening to you? And I'm like, oh yes, it's ridiculous. And so we're kind of like bonding over the pregnancy, and her pregnancy is helping with that. So yeah, I'm sorry this is long, but there was a lot to say, see? So I will, in my next vlogs, I will try to keep you kind of posted on what is happening with her as well, as far as like baby's still in there. Like I said, I don't want to get too like personal into her. Like, if she wants to share everything that she's feeling, she can make a channel. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to tell you kind of like my end of it, and I think it's really awesome, and it's going to be really interesting, I think, to see what comes of it, so, and how everything plays out. And this is sort of like a random vlog. I'll be doing my actual pregnancy vlog on Thursday, and I'll probably upload it Friday or Saturday, so watch for that. Bye.